Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Jaded Blossom has a fun mini school release that's available now. I do have links provided in the description box if you want to check it out. And as you can see from the photo, there are some gnome add-on sets. So here's everything that's included in the release. If you want everything in the release, you can always purchase the bundle pack if there are still some available and save some money. So we'll start off with the school add-on for the Gnome Dies. There are so many fun pieces. There's the new hat, the graduation hat. There's the diploma, a book, a pencil, scissors, and also an apple. And if you aren't familiar with Jaded Blossom Gnome Dies, they have the original Gnome Die, the boy, and now they have the girl Gnome Die set. And this is what they look like. Both sets have become very popular, and sometimes those add-on sets sell out immediately. Now there are several add-ons. We have the Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, and also spring. So now we're adding on a new set, the school add-on, plus we have the number add-on set. It includes the numbers 0 through 9 plus a set of hands. And it has the number and also the outline with the hands, so you know where to place those when you're having your gnome hold them. But you could use the numbers on their own. There are a couple of new stamp sets. We have Happy Graduation. There's the stamps and the coordinating outline dies. I love having those dies for the sentiments. Lots of great graduation sentiments, and it also has the years all the way up to 2025. The other stamp set is called School Candies. This is their grid style. You can cut out those smaller images and sentiments with a circle die, or you can use Jaded Blossom's grid die, which is the perfect size. Then you can attach them to a small candy like kisses or Rolos. And there's also a few other sentiments included on the set, another graduation, and a teacher appreciation sentiment. For a limited time, you can receive this calculator stamp set for free. You must purchase at least $50 worth of products before tax and shipping, and your order must include at least one item from the new release. This offer is only valid through Sunday, May 1st, and while supplies last. Before I get started on the cards, I wanted to show a little prep that I've been doing over the past week. This is the paper pad that I've been using for the skin tones on the gnomes. It's by P13, it's called Skin Tones. It's pretty small, it's only 4 by 6 inches. It is very nice heavyweight cardstock, and I love that it has the 6 different skin tone shades. And I do have a link in the description box. Just a heads up, it does keep selling out. I pulled out one sheet of each color, and I have the faces, the feet, the hands, and the nose, and cut out all of these pieces. And I did include one additional paper from scrapbook.com's boho collection. It's a really nice peach color. So once I had all of those cut out, I've sorted them into this little organizer. So I have the right and left hand, same with the right and left feet. I have the noses together and the faces. On the left side, I have the boy gnome, and the right side, I have the girl gnome silhouettes. So this way, I'll be ready to go so I can assemble my little gnomes. I did purchase a second container for the hair. I have the beards on the far left. Here's the mustaches, and then all 3 of the girl hairstyles. And I did keep the right and left pieces together in the same bin. So currently I have 3 empty bins. I think I'll add shoes into one, but I'm not sure on the other 2. I still need to cut out more hair colors, but I thought this was a good start for now. So let's go ahead and get started on the cards. For most of them, I'm using this collection from Echo Park. It's called Back to School, and it is an older collection, and it's not available any longer since it's from 2018. I believe they have a new school collection coming out soon, and I will add a link to that in the description box below. I selected 2 different pattern papers. I have a tone-on-tone yellow star paper for the background. Then I'm adding a strip of this chalkboard looking paper that has the alphabet. Along the edge of that paper, I'm adding some Love from Lizzie peel-offs in the black color, and this is the pinstripe style. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and layer this piece on some black cardstock. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I didn't mention earlier, I am using a card sketch for inspiration. This is OWH sketch number 227. And if you are interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I do share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. That link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. Just to save on time in this video, I'll only be assembling one of the gnomes for you. So I wanted to show how to attach the graduation cap. The silhouette of the gnome has that pointy hat, the very traditional gnome hat, but obviously that won't work with the graduation hat. So I simply trimmed off the extra. You can tell how much if you just hold the graduation hat on top of that silhouette. There are 3 pieces for the hat. You have the main background, the band, and also the tassel. And I love that you can customize this for your graduate depending on their school colors. I decided to go with the traditional black and yellow tassel for all of my cards. And I will be posting some of them in my Etsy shop. So if you do have a graduate this year, you can go and check that out. I used the same brown cardstock for the beard and also the mustache. And I'm popping up the nose and the feet using some foam dimension. For the diploma, there are a few different pieces. You have the background, the silhouette that shows where to put the hands, and then you can attach the diploma, and there's also the ribbon. And then I just glued the hands right on top. I did add a teeny tiny scrap piece of cardstock before attaching the hands. That way they were at the same level as the diploma. And I will be popping this up as well using some thin foam dimension. I have to cut some very thin pieces to make sure it fits. Then I'll remove the release paper and adhere it to my little gnome. And I decided to put it at an angle. So there is the finished graduation gnome, so adorable. I'll be attaching him to a stitch circle die cut. I will add some foam dimension on the top portion of the feet, and then I'll use liquid adhesive for the rest of the gnome. I'll adhere my little gnome to the center of a stitch circle die cut. The sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out. I used the Happy Graduation stamp set. I like how they have the separate class of and also the different years. And they have 2022 all the way through 2025. I cut out a second piece using the outline die so I could have a drop shadow. And I'll just adhere the sentiment on the top of the card. For a finishing touch, I'm using some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the gold holographic color in the mini star style. I'll put a couple of them in the lower left-hand corner and a few to the right of the little gnome. So there is my finished card. These are so fun to make. I did make a total of 4. I used different skin tones and also hair colors for each of them. I love having the diversity, and you could easily customize your little gnome to fit your graduate. I don't know very many graduates this year. It was all last year when my son graduated from high school, but I do have plans for the little redhead graduate girl. Now moving on to card design number 2. I'm using the same Echo Park pattern paper. The card sketch is from OWH. This is number 256. I have this fun alphabet paper for the background, adding a strip of the star tone-on-tone pattern paper. And I'll be layering that on some black cardstock and then again on red cardstock. This will be a very colorful card. I'll adhere my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Generally, my cardstock layers are an additional 1/8 of an inch to the measurements listed on the card sketch. But I do modify the measurements quite a bit. Instead of that 1.5 by 3 inch rectangle, I'm adding this larger green rectangle, and this is 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. I needed it large enough to fit one of the gnomes. I've already assembled this little girl, and she is so cute, holding an apple, and I decided to use the glasses die set from Jaded Blossom. I don't know why, but I think it's so cute when the gnomes are wearing glasses, even though you can't see their eyes at all. I'm adding the sentiment Smarty Pants. It's from the School Candies grid style stamp set, and I did use the grid die to cut that out. For a final finishing touch, I'm adding some mini circle peel-offs in the black color in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Again, just changed the skin tones and the hair color. This little gnome girl is one of my favorites, but do let me know which card is your favorite. For card design number 3, this is another OWH sketch, number 184. I've selected 4 different pattern papers. I have a tone-on-tone red polka dot, layering that on some black cardstock. And I have just some narrow strips of the wood grain, and I'll add those to the very outside edge. You could use the full panel, but this is a great way to save on pattern paper since you'll be covering up most of that area. I'm adding the apple pattern paper in the center. Then I'll use some Love from Lizzie peel-offs in the pinstripe style and black color, using the narrowest width and putting it along the apple pattern paper. This will add some nice contrast without the extra layers. I'll do the same thing on the left side, and I don't need a full strip. Part of that will be covered up with the red polka dot panel. Love from Lizzie peel-offs are some of my favorite embellishments. They add such a lovely detail without the extra bulk. I'll put some ATG tape on the back of my card front and add it to a card base. And for this card, I won't have any of the white card base showing. Now for that narrow 3/4 inch strip, I'm using some more pattern paper. This has a fun composition cover look. Then I'll be adding the red polka dot paper. Now before adhering this piece, I am putting some scrap cardstock on the very right and left side where it goes off of that apple pattern paper. And this will just help keep everything nice and level. Now this card won't have any of the gnomes. Instead, I'm featuring the calculator, and this is from the freebie stamp set. I stamped it on some light yellow cardstock, and then I stamped it again on white cardstock and added the sentiment, "You are great." I fussy cut both of those out. Before adhering the window with the sentiment on the calculator, I did use a black marker and run it along the very outside edge. I think this just gives it a cleaner look. That way you don't see that very white edge of the white cardstock. I have some foam dimension on the back. In the very upper right hand corner, I have slightly thicker foam dimension since it is going off of that red polka dot panel. And I decided to adhere it at an angle just for a little extra interest. For a final finishing touch, I used some more of the mini circle peel-offs in the black color and put 3 of them in the upper right-hand corner. And there is my finished card. I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 4, I'm using a card sketch from Mojo Monday. This is number 554. This will be another non-gnome card, but I will be using some of the gnome accessories. I have the red polka dot paper for the background, adding some of the composition pattern paper. And I also have some pencil pattern paper, and I'll be featuring that on those small squares. I'm layering everything on black cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now, if I didn't mention earlier, all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I'll layer all of the pencil square pieces on some black cardstock, and those cardstock layers are an additional 1/8 of an inch. So on the sketch, they're listed at 1 1/2 inches. That's for the pattern paper. Then I'm adding that additional 1/8 of an inch, so it's 1 5/8 inch by 1 5/8 inch. Before adhering those to the card, I am putting some scrap pattern paper on the very outside edge where it goes off of that composition pattern paper. I'll adhere the top 2 pencil squares down first, trying to make sure to get them nice and straight. Then I can add the final square. I love the mix of the 3 pattern papers together. We have a very tone-on-tone design in the background, a less busy design with that composition, and then the busier pattern with the pencils. They really work well together. I have a stitch circle die cut, and I've already added the sentiment, Happy Teacher Appreciation. That's coming up soon, so it's really good timing to have this set available. I am adding some scrap cardstock underneath where there would be a 4th square, just to keep that circle nice and level. Now I have a few different accessories from the Gnome add-on set. We have a pencil, the apple, and also a pair of scissors. Now most of them you just need a few die cut pieces to assemble. The pencil is a little bit more. I'll be adding all of those images above the Happy Teacher Appreciation sentiment. I laid out all of the pieces first to get the placement correct, and I started with the apple. Adhered the main portion of the apple, then attached the stem and the leaf. Now I'm working on the pencil. I used a darker yellow for the main portion. I have a lighter yellow for the end of the pencil, and then the tiniest little die ever is the lead for the pencil. It's a teeny tiny little triangle. Then I have some pink cardstock for the eraser and some silver mirror cardstock for that little metal band near the eraser. So there it is, all finished. It's so cute. Just several little pieces, but it's worth it. Now for the scissors, I have the main portion cut out of silver mirror cardstock, and the handles I used some yellow cardstock. So put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere my final little school piece in place. Then for a final finishing touch, I'm using some more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. These are the mini stars in the silver mirror color. I'll add the largest star in the center and put 2 medium-sized stars around it. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Although I'll need at least 6 teacher appreciation cards this year, because I know my daughter has around 5 or 6 teachers. For card design number 5, I'm using a sketch from Sketch Saturday. This is number 699. For pattern paper on this card, I'm using Doodlebug Designs Dot Stripe Rainbow Petite Prints. This lovely yellow tone-on-tone polka dot. Now on this sketch, there's that narrow rectangle frame. I'll be using Love from Lizzie peel-offs to create that frame. This is the straight style of peel-offs, so they're a little bit wider. They're about 1/8 of an inch, and this is the gold holographic color. I'm adding a strip about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the pattern paper, and I'll let the ends go off the edge. Then I'm using my craft knife to miter those corners together. So at an angle, I'm adding that cut, then removing those extra pieces, and now it has a nice, clean, little mitered corner. And with the holographic finish, it's super sparkly. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and adhere my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll stamp the sentiment, and I'm using my Mini Misty just to make sure I get a good solid impression. Using some intense black ink from Honeybee Stamps and adding the word congratulations. I did need to ink it up a couple of times to get that good solid impression. Now you may have noticed this sketch is designed for a horizontal card. Well, I'm flipping that to a vertical card. It also has those 2 circles. Well, I'll be substituting those for balloons, and I'm adding 3 of them. So I have a black, a white, and I use some white shimmer cardstock for that color, and then some yellow cardstock. And on the yellow and the white balloon, I stamped 2022. So I add a little graduation party with lots of fun balloons. I'll adhere the black balloon in the background since I didn't add the 2022 year. And the white will go in front, and then the yellow in the very front. I have my little graduate all assembled. Put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere him in the lower right-hand corner. For the white balloon, I will be popping this up using some foam dimension. And then I'll also pop up the yellow, just leaving a small area without dimension since that portion will be sitting on top of the white balloon. And then I'll also add the little balloon strings, and these are all part of Jaded Blossom's balloon die set. For the white balloon, I have the string going behind the graduate, so I really just need that small piece. The string for the black balloon didn't even need to be connected since you can't see it. And the yellow balloon gets the curly Q string. So I'll add just a little bit of liquid adhesive on the very right side of the yellow balloon just to make sure it doesn't lift up. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the other card, the gnome has the different skin tone and also hair color, and I also used a lighter yellow polka dot paper. Now I'll be switching to some birthday pattern paper. This is from Sunny Studio. It's their surprise party collection. I'm also using Jaded Blossom's Card Layer Die 1. I love their card layer dies, and they do tend to sell out quickly, but I think this one is currently available. I selected 3 different pattern papers and cut them out using the card layer die. I have 2 triangles and also a large banner. And I love these bright, cheerful colors. I'll adhere the 2 triangles on some white shimmer cardstock. I'm using ATG tape and also a little bit of liquid adhesive at the very corners, since it's hard to get the ATG tape in those tiny areas. I'll layer this piece on some blue cardstock and then again on some red cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base. I won't be leaving any of the white card base showing since the main background is mostly white cardstock. Next I'll add the yellow banner, and I'll adhere that in place using some liquid adhesive. I am covering up most of the balloons, but you can still see that lovely color from behind. I'll be adhering my sweet little gnome on a teal oval die cut. So I'll adhere that in place first. And for this gnome, we have a little girl, and I used the spring add-on set for the butterfly wings. And I cut those out from some vellum for the very background, and then the detail on the wings, I used some holographic cardstock. So they're super shiny. And I have the little girl holding the number 5, and that's from the new number add-on set. I think that set works perfect for birthday parties. And you could add 2 numbers. So this could be 50. Just put the 2 numbers together and have one hand on each of the numbers. For the sentiment, I've already stamped this out. This is Gnome Doubt It's Your Birthday. And this is from Jaded Blossom's Whimsical Gnomes stamp set. I layered it on the same dark blue cardstock and adhered it in the lower right-hand corner. To finish off the card, I'm adding some blue rhinestones. I put 2 in the upper left-hand corner, 1 to the right of the gnome, and also 2 around the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the second card, I just flip-flopped the 2 triangles so I could use the balloon and the star paper. And I also made a boy gnome instead of the girl, but still holding the number 5. For card design number 7, I'm using Doodlebug Designs Cute and Crafty collection. This is one of my favorite collections. It's absolutely adorable, and there's lots and lots of pink. For the background, I have this fun pattern paper that features lots of crafty tools and snacks. There's a little camera, and I love how it has some Doodlebug Design products pictured as well. I'm adding a strip of pink and white polka dot paper, using some pink holographic peel-offs along the very edge, and these are the pinstripe style. Put some ATG tape on the back and layer this piece on some pink cardstock. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll adhere a large stitched oval die cut, and I use some white shimmer cardstock for that. I'll glue it down using some liquid adhesive. So now I have a little area to add my sweet little gnome, and this little girl is adorable. So I have her holding a pair of scissors, and they have the pink handle. And if you followed me for a while, you'll know about my pink magical scissors that broke a couple of years ago. Still sad I've never been able to find a really good replacement for them. The exact moment my scissors broke was recorded on video. It's in my Doodlebug Design Made with Love 6x6 video. Still can't believe the handle just snapped. When I saw the little scissors in the school gnome add-on set, I knew I needed a little girl gnome holding some pink magical scissors. I cut out these two wavy borders using Jaded Blossom's border die set. It's one of my favorites of theirs. Has the wider wavy piece and then the very narrow piece. I put some double-sided tape on the back of the wider piece, but the narrow one I had to use liquid adhesive. This sentiment I'll be adding is from Jaded Blossom's Paper Hoarder stamp set. This is the very first Jaded Blossom product I purchased when I first learned about them. The sentiment is, when life gives you scraps, make cards. I think that's appropriate. I layered it on the same dark pink cardstock, and I will be adding some scrap cardstock pieces, trying to get that sentiment nice and level since it's going over all these different layers. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it directly underneath my little crafty gnome girl. I stamped the sentiment using Catherine Pooler's Pucker Up ink color. And I forgot to mention earlier, the pattern paper for the little girl's dress is from Doodlebug Designs Gingham Linen Rainbow Petite Prints. To finish off the card, I'll add some more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini circle style in the pink holographic color. One of my favorite colors by Love from Lizzie. Put 2 of them in the upper left-hand corner and 3 around my sweet little gnome. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I only switched the skin color since I wanted my little crafty gnome to have pink braids. And she is definitely my favorite. I love how this card turned out. Now here's another look at the 16 cards I made using Jaded Blossom's brand new mini school release. We have 2 new gnome add-on sets, the school and also the numbers, plus some fun graduation and school themed stamp sets. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. And if you are interested in purchasing any of my gnome graduation cards, I will have those listed in my Etsy shop, and that link is provided in the description box below. Even if you don't have a graduate in the near future, I think the school gnome add-on set is still useful. I used it for a Crafty card with the little scissors, and there's also the apple, the pencil, and the book, which I never did get around to using the book. I'll make sure to use that next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.